And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have this delicious and beautiful Arrabiata sauce. It's a spicy Italian tomato sauce, and we'll show you how to do that. First, I'd like to remind everyone that we have an affiliates link with Chef's Temp. If you need a kitchen thermometer or meat probe, please check out the link in the description below. Use code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout, and you'll get 15% off your order. And now, on with our ingredients for this Arrabiata. So we have some of our own homegrown hot peppers, some garlic, some tomato paste, some olive oil, an onion, some bay leaves, some fresh herbs. We've got thyme, basil, oregano, and rosemary, as well as some fresh chives, a can of whole tomatoes, canned tomatoes there, and our pasta, we're using the same cheese ravioli that we used for the mushroom cream sauce. So we're going to start with our hot peppers. Now these are padron peppers. You can use whatever you like. There are certainly more traditionally Italian ones that you might use. These are nice and spicy. We grew these out in our balcony garden. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil and some salt on those, and we're going to roast these. I apologize for the steam getting onto our camera lens there. That was from our boiling water, our pasta water. And first thing we're going to do is get our onions ready. So we're going to chop the onions into just these nice little half moons. And those are going to go into some hot olive oil. And we really just wanted to let these sweat a little bit before we get too far into everything here. So these are going to start first. We've got our onions going in the olive oil, a little bit of salt in there just to let some of the liquids come out. And then we're going to, you can see there's just starting to sweat here. So we're going to cover that up, and we're going to add in a bunch of our whole herbs first. So in goes the thyme, the oregano, and a little bit of the rosemary too there if you like. And while that's going, we're going to toss those peppers with the oil and salt into the oven, and then we're going to chop our garlic. Now, our garlic, we have these monster cloves of garlic. So they're a little bit huge. The recipe called for 6 cloves, but our cloves were so enormous that we just used 3. One of the benefits, I guess, of using some artisanal garlic, they were really excellent. It was beautiful garlic. And we're going to crush this. So we're going to, you've seen us do this before, a little bit of salt on there, a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to smash this into a paste. And that does a couple things. Number one, it really sort of heightens the heat from the garlic and makes that, that brings the most that you possibly can out of that. And it also, helps it to incorporate really nicely into the sauce, really beautifully. So there we go. There's our garlic paste. And we're going to set that aside. Let's take a look at our peppers. We pulled them out, and they needed just a little bit more time. You want to see a little bit of color on them. They didn't seem like they were quite there yet, so we are going to put these back in the oven for just a couple more minutes. You can turn them over if you feel like they need to be turned over. And you want to make sure that the skin is starting to pull away a little bit, because we are going to be peeling those for the sauce. Into our garlic goes some tomato paste. Now we're using a 3 times strength of tomato paste, so we'll put the amounts in the description below. And now these look just about ready. You can see they're blistering a little bit all over the place. They've got a little bit of color. So we're going to put those into a bowl, and we just want to cover them. We're going to cover them with some plastic wrap, and it's just going to let them kind of steam themselves in there. And that's going to help them, that's just going to help the skin loosen up a little bit more. We don't want to refrigerate them or anything, but we don't want to deal with them also straight out of the oven either, because they're incredibly hot. So just cover them up, let them steam for a little. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to our pasta sauce here. So you can see the onions have got a little bit of color on the bottom. Now, don't worry if you get a little bit of foam down at the bottom there, a little bit of bits of caramelization. We're going to get all of that up when we add a bunch of liquid, which is the tomato sauce. Or I should say the canned tomatoes. The whole thing is going to be tomato sauce eventually. So we're going to put all of that tomato in there, and we would just want to break those up a little bit. If you want this to be a much thicker sauce, you can use diced tomatoes or crushed tomatoes, which will make them a little more thick in the texture department. Now, we're going to peel these, and we're using gloves for this because they are spicy peppers, and you don't want to peel these and then touch your eyes or touch your face or anything. Use gloves for this. You'll appreciate that. So pull the stems out. We actually left most of the seeds in there, but once they were all peeled, we got them into the tomatoes. We're going to add in our garlic and tomato paste as well. And we just want all of this to stew together for a while. And we don't mind if this gets quite spicy. Oh, we're also going to add in the olive oil that collected in the pan that we roasted the peppers in, because there's lots of flavor in there. That's basically pepper scented olive oil. It's perfect for this. So we're just going to add that in there as well. Give everything a little stir. Sometimes tomato paste, it helps if you break it up a little bit in the liquid first, and then make sure that everything is well combined in there. And then we just want to let this cook for a long time, and you don't want to keep it covered. We do want it to reduce and thicken. So if you need to keep it covered, keep it open a little bit, allow some of that moisture to escape. Meanwhile, we're getting our pasta water ready, so we add some salt to that water. And give it a stir to make sure it's all well combined. And in goes our ravioli. Now this is it's frozen ravioli. We got it from a local producer. Really, really nice. It's just like a 4-cheese ricotta blend. We're also going to chop up some more of our fresh herbs. So here's our fresh chives and most of the basil. We're going to reserve just a little bit of the basil to garnish at the end. And also some of that rosemary. And this is going to get chopped pretty finely. We don't want huge pieces of this. And we also don't want it to be, dust in the final dish. So we're going to chop it up, but it is going to be pretty finely. And then this is going to go in at the very last second. This is going to go in just as we're taking everything off the heat. So you can see this has been simmering for a little while. We're going to get our stick blender in there. And we want to puree this, and you can take it as far as you like. You can leave it as lumpy, as chunky as you wish. We're going to get it pretty smooth, but still with some texture. You're not likely to really get the seeds and blended in there, so there's always going to be something. And we wanted a little bit of texture in there. And then we're going to add in our beautiful fresh herbs and just stir that through and make sure it's all nicely well combined. You can see how nice and thick it has all gotten in there. And again, the reduction, you can take that down as far as you like. So we're going to just let that reduce a little bit more, and then once the pasta is ready, we're ready to go. So we're going to take the pasta out. We've got our spider there for that. Get the pasta into the bowl, and then we're going to add a little bit of that beautiful spicy, and it was beautifully spicy. Those padron peppers that we grew turned out quite nice. They're supposed to be about on par with jalapeno peppers. We found they were a little spicier than that, not quite as spicy as the serrano peppers we grew. And then we're just going to chiffonade a little bit of that basil and add that on top for a little bit of garnish and that bright green aroma that finishes it off nicely. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Absolutely delicious, packed with flavor, really zingy, nice and spicy. If you've got hot peppers, you can use padrones, you can use jalapenos for this. You can use, cubanelles, you can whatever spicy pepper you like. Poblanos work well for this as well. If you want it super spicy, kick that up to a habanero or a Scotch bonnet. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. We'd like to thank our patrons over on Patreon, and I'll put a link in the description below for that as well. And remember to love your food.